Have you ever faced a frustrating error while coding, especially when transitioning from XML to Java configuration? If that's you, then you're in the right place. Today, we're diving into the Invalid Data Access API usage exception and how to resolve it. I understand how annoying it can be when your application starts up fine, but then throws an error when you try to execute a query. You're definitely not alone in this struggle. Many developers encounter similar issues when switching configurations. Here's the specific situation we're looking at. One user recently asked, "Why am I getting an Invalid Data Access API usage exception when using Java configuration?" They mentioned that their application works perfectly with XML, but fails during JQL execution in Java config. Sound familiar? Let's explore this together. So, what could be causing this exception? It often relates to transaction management not being set up correctly in your Java configuration. We'll break it down step by step to help you identify the issue. And don't go anywhere. I've got a crucial tip at the end that will help you avoid this issue in the future. To address the Invalid Data Access API usage exception, the user should first ensure that transactions are properly configured in their Java configuration. This is crucial for executing update or delete queries. Next, the user should check the Transaction Manager bean. It must be correctly set up to manage transactions for the Entity Manager factory. The user should also ensure that the update method in the DAO is being executed within a transactional context. This can be done by annotating the method with @transactional. Finally, the user should verify that the data source is correctly configured and accessible. This ensures that the application can connect to the database without issues. Did you know? The first version of Spring was released back in 2003, and it has evolved tremendously since then. Just like coding, learning is a journey. Now let's look at the answers provided by other users. An alternative solution was provided by another user. They discovered that the issue arose because the Enable Transaction Management annotation auto-configures transactions. If the Transaction Manager is set to a default name, it won't trigger the custom configuration method. To resolve this, they suggest using a unique name for your Transaction Manager and referencing it in the Enable JPay repository's annotation. Additionally, they pointed out that using set data source instead of set JT data source on the local container Entity Manager factory bean could also lead to issues. Here's the tip I promised. Always ensure your transaction management is properly configured when switching from XML to Java. This simple step can save you a lot of headaches. And there you have it. With these steps, you should be able to resolve the Invalid Data Access API usage exception. Remember, proper transaction management is key. If you found this helpful, hit the subscribe button for more tips, and don't miss our next video on advanced Spring configurations.